Prince Harry has become a special ambassador for the Black Lives Matter movement. Following the interview held by US TV presenter Oprah Winfrey with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, aired in the UK on the 8th of March, the Prince announced the move on Twitter. The Duke joined our royal correspondent George McAvoy via video link from his home in Santa Barbara, California earlier today. Your Royal Highness, thank you very much indeed for joining us. What inspired you to become an ambassador for the Black Lives Matter movement?
Hi, George. Please just call me Harry. I'm profoundly moved by the racial inequality which inspired the BLM movement, and it affects Meghan and I personally as our mixed-race son, Archie, was brought into a world which is unfortunately still steeped in racism.
As a member of the royal family, many would argue that you were born into privilege. Even when you became estranged from the royal family and moved to the United States, your current abode there is a luxurious 9-bedroom, 16-bathroom home in a very exclusive part of California. How do you reconcile that level of opulence with a movement which is at its root fighting inequality?
I don't think that's fair, George. Meghan has lived with racial prejudice her whole life, despite being well off financially, so I've learned more about that through my relationship with her. When Archie was born, those issues became very much part of our lives as a family. And even before that, I was aware of the extent to which racial prejudice can hold people back.
How exactly were you aware? I mean, for most of your life, taking a knee only happened when Her Majesty the Queen, your grandmother, was knighting someone. I also distinctly remember a story about you wearing a Nazi uniform at some party a number of years ago.
Oh, come on, George, that was many years ago. I've changed a lot since then. As I said, when Archie was born, Meghan and I had a chat, and it really changed my perspective.
Okay. To raise awareness about racial inequality, you've been kind enough to share a recording of that conversation with us, which took place when you still lived in the UK. We're just going to play that for our listeners, if that's okay.
Sure. Darling, don't you think you're overreacting slightly? I mean, he's not going to be stopped and searched. His name's Archie Mountbatten-Windsor, for God's sake. Even if police did stop him, they'd soon realise from the double-barrelled surname that he's not the boy they're after.
Overreacting? Do you have any idea what you're talking about? Pretty much every black male growing up, including members of my family, gets stopped and searched by police for no reason whatsoever, okay? Just because they're black.
Well, he's not exactly black. He's more off-white. Cream. Beige at worst.
Oh, come on, Harry. What planet do you live on? Double-barreled surnames? That doesn't make you immune. I mean, look at the Premier League. It's full of black players with double-barreled surnames. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Maitland-Niles, Loftus-Cheek. I bet their surnames didn't make their lives any easier.
Okay, point taken. But he's a prince, for goodness sake. Doesn't that get him out of it?
No. They'll think he's a gangster, a rap artist, or that it's his musical title. Come on.
But he's 7th in line for the throne.
Dude, that sounds like an album title. That's the way the police will see it.
Okay, but do we have to move to the US? I love London, it's great. Do you really think the police in the US are going to be any nicer? Surely quite the reverse.
I have had it with your family. They are driving me crazy. We are moving to California, period. There you go. Now, I understand that you've got a song for us, Harry, to round things off. Is that right?
Yes, George. Hang on. The Duke. In the house. A rather big house at that. Yeah, check it out. I come from the House of Windsor in a land with an endless winter, waiting for Meghan to finish filming so I can bloody well ring. I miss my granny, my dad, and even my bro. But they ain't never going to let brown skin into the palace, so I'm hanging out on the west coast like Tupac did, but missing crumpets, football, and rain, God forbid. Now I may have copious freckles and ginger hair, but don't mistreat people for how they look. It's bloody unfair. Yeah. Bloody unfair.